Sir, do you have your driver's license?
Yes.
Oh, I think it's right here, at 358 Chestnut Street.
I could have had it right there. Yes, I say that I don't see.
So,
We need to open the meeting again?
Okay.
Or do you want me to just do it in the new? Second. All in favor? Opposed? Meeting's reopened for licensing. Mr. Jaime Perez Arevalo? See? What is the wish of the committee?
Motion approved.
Motion approved. We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Alvarado? We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Be careful, you leave
You all set to go, Rich?
a little open there, Council Field.
It's okay. Bring it on. Bring it on. A good game?
Yeah, good one, a Barry Park special.
Lambda, lambda.
To his credit,
Paddle.
Didn't. A lambda, lambda, lambda.
Yeah.
Beautiful apparel today, yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Public Property and Parks Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Present.
President Counsel LaPierre?
Present.
President Counsel Calucci? President Counsel Walsh?
present.
President Counsel Field?
Present.
Thank you. 2 items on the agenda. The first is discussion with Dr. Tutwiler, Superintendent of Lynn Public Schools, regarding the need for school property. Dr. Tutwiler, would you like to come up?
Thank you, Councilor Starbird.
Good evening.
Good evening. So what I want to do really quickly is paint a picture for you, and then there's a very simple ask at the end of that. I'm sure that everybody in this room is aware of the enrollment challenges that the Lynn Public Schools has experienced over the past 15, maybe even 20 years. And really what I'm here to do this evening is ask for your support in what we believe would be a long-term benefit or a solution and one piece, tied to one piece of that enrollment challenge. Clear in the Individuals with Disability Act is the fact that children between the ages of 3 and 5 who need special education services must be provided those services by the public school district in the community in which they live. Throughout the year, students are identified through a special education evaluation and placed if they are deemed eligible. This is one of several enrollment considerations because one cannot predict the number of students who will qualify in a given year. Nonetheless, we have experienced increases of students who qualify over the past 10 plus years, and case in point, we've opened 2 new pre-K classrooms in each of the past 3 years. Pre-K classrooms are spread throughout the district's elementary schools. With the increase in the identified eligible students, we've taken to expanding to spaces that sit empty in partner facilities during the day. For example, we've collaborated with the YMCA to lease space in their facility, as all of the students who would normally be served there are in our schools during the day and they come after school. So that works for us, but it is not a permanent solution. We currently certainly evaluate permanent solutions as they arise, and we have one before us, which is why I'm here today. The Jackie Robinson Early Childhood Center at 40 Commercial Street is currently owned and operated by Lynn Economic Opportunity. The building has 5 appropriate early childhood classrooms, office space, a common space, food prep space, and an outdoor playground. It meets all the specifications to be licensed by the Department of Early Education and Care, which is the state licensing authority. Leo currently is in the process of building a new space, and it's expected that that space will be ready in or before 2025. Having toured the facility with the educators, with other educators and inspectional services, we feel strongly that acquiring this facility would be in our best interests. Given that the time of sale is a few years away, my formal ask, after all of that, is that the council authorize the mayor to send a letter expressing interest in the property and the right of first refusal when that property becomes available.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tutwiler. We all understand the issues and challenges trying to get all our kids comfortably into classrooms throughout the city. I think we all know where this property is, adjacent to the Warren Street Playground, close by to the Connery School. A lot of young families in that Warren Street, Neptune Towers, Brickyard neighborhood. So I think that any space that we can get in that area would be welcome. So as Dr. Tutwiler stated, we would be looking for a motion from this committee to authorize the mayor to explore a first right of refusal agreement with the property with Lynn Economic Opportunity located at 40 Commercial Street.
Motion.
Motion made by Councilor Calucci, seconded by Councilor Field. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much, Dr.
I
Tutwiler.
appreciate it.
And good luck on the coming school year.
Thank you.
Sounds like you're off to a smooth start today, so keep it up. Thank you. Next on the agenda is discussion regarding the removal of a deed restriction on property located at 91 Collins Street. This is a lot that had a deed restriction on it in the corner of Fayette and Collins Street located in Ward 2. What we're looking for is a motion ordered that the law department is authorized to prepare, and his honor the mayor is hereby authorized to execute a confirmatory deed removing all conditions contained in a deed from the city of Lynn dated February 23rd, 1990, filed at Southern Essex County Registry of Deeds, Book 10340, page 470, for the property at 91 Collins Street, Lynn, Massachusetts.
Motion.
Motion made by Councilor Calucci, seconded by Councilor LaPierre. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other business?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Made, seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Go. No. Okay, what we got here? Utilities. Oh. Do we have enough people? Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Want to open it up? Utilities, anyone, we got National Grid petition to install one jointly owned pole between, oh, do roll call. Sorry.
My fault.
You threw me off there for a
Counsel
second.
Walsh,
I'm present.
Counsel Lozey, absent, Counsel Chakutis. Present. Present. We have National Grid, petition to install one jointly owned pole between number 60 and 62 Dearborn Ave to feed the new home at 62 Dearborn Ave.
All right, anyone wishing to speak in favor? We have anybody here from National Grid by chance? It's not. Yeah. John Jankowski's not here? National Grid? Talk to him. He's supposed to be here.
I talked to him, yeah.
Okay. I talked to him. I wonder if he's in the hallway out there. Terry, could we peek and see if John Jankowski's out there for a second? Thank you. Just wait 1 second. I did speak to him today. No? Okay, well. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? You want to come on up to the podium for a second, please?
Good evening. My name is Judith Wells Homan at 60 Dearborn Avenue. I am not speaking in opposition. I just have a couple of questions. I want to make sure that the abutters are given sufficient notice as to when the work will begin. And also, if the power has to be turned off, please give us enough notice about that, too.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. The wish of the committee.
Motion to approve with stipulations from the
Yep.
neighbors that they're notified if the power is to be shut off.
Do we have the stipulations there? To make sure that
Stipulations.
they have sufficient notice if they are to cut power. I don't know that they normally cut power when they do these things, but we'll note that in their approval, okay?
So sufficient notice when the work will begin
Yep.
and if the power will be turned off. The neighbor.
If it will be turned off or not, yep, that's fine. Thank you. There's a motion to approve, we have a second. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Second, we have a petition for a trench and installation of communication conduit to the building located at 8 Silsby Street by Crown Castle.
Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Do you have anybody from Crown Castle here? You want to come up to the podium, please? State your name and address for the record.
Bill Conway from Crown Castle, 1800 West Park Drive, Westboro. We're just looking to install conduit from our existing handhole across Silsby Street to 8 Silsby to supply telecommunication service to the building.
Okay. All right, great. If you have a seat, we'll just have the rest of the public hearing. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing on that part of the hearing is closed. Anybody in opposition? Anyone want to speak in opposition? Anyone want to speak in opposition? Seeing on that part of the hearing is closed. Was the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
The motion approved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
Moving right along. All right, we had a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
So it can physically be moved, but I don't know where you'll put it. So I don't know.
Oh, Richard, yeah.
So my only other thought is right here.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ways and Means Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, could you please roll call?
Counsel Net?
Present.
Present Counsel Staben?
Present.
Present Counsel Barton? Absent Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present Counsel Seer? Absent.
Could you read please, order, please?
First order is certify the following funds. $50,000 to the Lynn Public Library for Library Services and Technology Act, LTSA, utilizing APRA funds.
What's the wish of committee?
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. $106,933 to the School Department for the Parents Plus 237 grant program.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. $299,178 to the Fire Department for the State 911 Department Support and Incentive Grant.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. $293,600 to the Fire Department for the FY20 Assistance to Firefighters Grant.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. $23,547 to the Fire Department for the State 911 Department Emergency Medical Dispatch Grant Program.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. Certify $16,887.40 is allotted to the City of Lynn Fire Department for the State 911 Training Grant.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. $142,993 to the School Department for the FY22 Coordinated Family and Community Engagement Grant 237 program.
Motion approved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. $62,500 to the School Department for the FY22 FC 406 Career and Technical Ed Grant Program.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. $100,000 to the School Department for the FY22 FC 106 CVTE Equitable Access Grant Program.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. $104,692 to the School Department for the FY22 FC 412 Comp Career and Tech Grant Program.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. Transfer the sum of $29,360 from the reserve account to the TBD account to fund the city portion of match for grant for fire department in the AFG grant recently awarded by FEMA.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. Transfer the sum of $400,000 from the capital STEB fund account to the ISD expense professional contract account to fund the city portion of roof repair for the Callahan School.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent. And finally, ordered that His Honor the Mayor is hereby authorized to execute a 3-year contractual extension for a total of 6 years with Ticketmaster LLC for the purpose of providing ticketing vending services for the City of Lynn Memorial Auditorium.
What is the wish committee?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer absent.
Is there any new businesses? Or new businesses? Pardon me? Oh, emergency, I'm sorry. Yes, so roll call all emergency, please.
Emergency, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton, absent. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer, absent.
Any new business?
No new business.
Motion to adjourn, second? All right. Meeting adjourned, thank you.
Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Present.
Present. Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present. Counsel Calucci? Present. Counsel Field?
Present.
Present. Counsel Hogan?
Present.
Present. Counsel LaPierre?
Present.
Present. Counsel Lozey?
Present.
Present. Counsel Net? Present. Counsel Starbed?
Present.
Present. Counsel Walsh?
Present.
Present. Counsel Seer?
Present, all rise for a moment of silence. I'd like to remember the Mooney family, as well as baby Ricky. There's a fundraiser this Saturday night at Tony's, which I hope you can all attend. That's the Dean family. And also for the victims in Afghanistan and the storms that we've had.
And our Lynn School Crossing Guard are the family of Robert Carriacados.
Mr. President, if we could too, I know we don't have a meeting, but September 11th is coming up too, so the victims of that.
The family of Brady Robert Ellis.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Accept the minutes of the August 10th meeting.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Communications.
I have a communication from His Honor the Mayor. Dear Councilors, pursuant to Section 6-5 of the City of Lynn Charter and Section 5 of the ordinance titled Reorganizing the Office of the City Solicitor, approved by the City Council on July 15, 2015, I am hereby reappointing James Wellock as the Third Assistant City Solicitor for the City of Lynn, effective October 29, 2021. Pursuant to Section 3-9 of the Lynn City Charter, I am respectfully requesting that the City Council affirm Attorney James Wellock's reappointment at your September 7th, 2021 meeting. Sincerely, Mayor Thomas M. McGee.
Does it have to be done with a roll call individually?
Motion to approve.
Yes.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes, James
Yes.
Wellick.
Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
James Wellick.
Yes. Counsel Lozey?
James Wellick.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Starbed?
James Waller.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Wellick.
The second one
Motion
we have
carries.
is from CFO Mike Bertino. Dear Council President Seer, I am respectfully requesting that the Lynn City Council approve an agreement for services between the City of Lynn and Mr. Donald Castle for a term of 5 years to engage Mr. Castle to serve as the city's American Rescue Plan Act compliance officer. Please be advised that this position will be funded entirely out of ARPA funds. As the amount of this agreement exceeds $50,000, the City Council will also be required to approve the expenditure of the ARPA funds for this position as part of the approval process. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. Respectfully submitted, Michael Bertino, Chief Financial Officer.
Mr. President, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Roll.
Counsel Barton?
Excuse me, the discussion?
Discussion.
Thank you.
Council Barton.
Yes, I'd ask Mike Patino to come up to the podium, please. On the funding of this job, what happens after the 5 years? Does the city pick it up, or how's that work?
Thank you for having me up here. Thank you for the question. It ends after 5 years. That was in the job description. It's essentially the time frame that we have to spend this money and complete all the reporting, and then the position ends. There's no, unless the government just happens to come out with another recovery bill, the position would end after 5 years.
And the other question I had was, does Don Castle come into our system, our retirement system, or how does that work?
Yes, he would be an employee, a contract employee, like we have several other ones that would have to get approved into the system. But that's, for the most part, a formality, because we would also pay from the opera funds, his contribution towards the system, as any federal funded position should.
So past job, his funds would transfer over into our pension system? Is that?
Yes, that's correct.
So I even have a question. Would the money that's being paid towards his retirement come out of the city budget side, or would it come out of the CARES Act side?
It would come out of the CARES Act side.
So the city's not paying for it, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you for that question.
Councilor Lapierre.
Thank you, Mr. President. But on that, what you just said, Mike, is confusing to me. The system that the proposed candidate is in right now is a different retirement system. My understanding is this would be a new role and a new position in municipal government. So he would be starting anew, fresh, and not be parlaying how many years he had in another contributory system to the city of Lynn. That's two different things.
I don't believe that to be the case. The systems are set up the same. They're defined benefit systems. And when anybody moves from the state or another city or town, comes with them is their money. But the people, for example, if somebody worked, it happened a lot where I live, if somebody worked 20 years for the city of Winthrop and then they worked 10 years at Massport, which is also a defined benefit plan, at the end of the day, when their pension was being paid, essentially money would still come out each year from the Winthrop system as well as the Massport system. They would split it based on an actuarial basis, so you're not adding any new money, you're not adding any new pension. It's the system that had the person's money for all those years pays a prorated portion of their retirement. And that goes with any federal position. We have to collect, you're required by any of the federal grants that you approve to take the employee's portion that goes towards the defined benefit into the new system they're in.
No, I get it. I understand that. But if the applicant were to retire from that system, it starts afresh in our system. That's my question.
Right. I mean, I can't see anybody that essentially wouldn't make sense to do that. The only thing it would make sense.
From the city's perspective, it would. Maybe from the employee's perspective.
No, you're not allowed to. You can't retire twice from any one single system. The only other ones you can do that from would be the MBTA.
I guess I'm confused because I treat them as two separate systems. The county versus the city. And you can retire from the county and come work in this job as a consultant for 5 years in the city. That is totally legal.
Yes, but they're not a consultant. We use contracts, like I'll use myself as an example. I'm not part of any bargaining union. I have a contract with the mayor to provide CFO services. I follow a specific union contract. I'm just not entitled to their benefits that we discussed before, the educational ascendance, the car allowance, the longevity. However, I'm the same. Wherever I came before, my pension transfers with me. But at the end of the day, if I spent 5 years in one place, 5 years in another place, 5 years in Lynn, and 5 years in, say, Manchester, then at the end of the day, if my pension was $1,000, I'm using round numbers, $250 would come from each of the 5.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I think the distinction I'm trying to make is a retirement out of one system and an entry level into another. In other words, what you're saying is a continuation of employment, whatever this salary is pensionable through our system, upon the retirement in, let's say, 5 years of this employee, they're going to be at whatever percentage they've done from their time on the county level and in the municipal city of Lynn combined.
Exactly.
And that's going to be a higher pension percentage-wise, we would think.
Right, but the way it works is if they came from, although the money transfers, the liability still stays with the pension they did the work in. So it's meant that way for a reason, because if you work 10 years in one place, you had 10 years with their money to make a return for your system. That money moves over, and the end of the day, when that's paid out, it's called your 5C payments?
It's Steve Spencer in the room?
Yes. Oh, I was just looking for him.
That's what I've been-
Yeah, you do payments each year. Retirement systems bill each other each year for the percentage of time that's being used.
Right. Yeah, like credible service.
It's credible, yeah, so they give a lump sum. The fire chief in my town retired, and he thinks all that money, he spent 2 years in another system. He thinks his whole paycheck comes from the other system. It doesn't. In fact, 63,000 of that comes from the system that he spent the majority of his time. Just a small balance goes to that. So it's kind of prorated to where you spend your time. Because otherwise, you would all go to, say, a system that may pay 100% of your health insurance. You'd all want to retire from there, and we'd all flock to that. So we'd have it doesn't work like that. It's all a pro rata share based on your years of service and your earnings. And I believe it's called like a 9C payment.
Okay.
Mr. President, is there any way we can delay this vote till we can get Gary Brenner up here to explain it to us?
Make a motion to table.
But can we get this done tonight if we can bring Gary back?
Oh, we can, is he in the building?
He should be, retirement board.
Okay, so we can ask for a moment to delay the
Right.
vote.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to put this at the end of our agenda and then bring it back up for reconsideration.
Second. Okay. Motion made to bring this to the end of the, under new business or old business. So it'll be a little bit.
I'll go track down
Okay.
Gary.
Yep. So first, public hearings.
Okay, the first public hearing is a zone ordinance amendment to rezone the southeasterly side of Parrott Street from Chatham Street to Fayette Street, close to these commuter trail rail tracks as in R1 district. As a result, both sides of Parrott Street will be zoned for single-family homes.
Before I open up the public hearing, this will be the only public hearing tonight that you can call in, and the number is 781-586-6783, or you can appear in front of the council at the podium. Again, whether you're in favor or in opposition, you can call in tonight on 781-586-6783. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor, please come to the podium.
Can you just clarify that, what that means, that it's not open for public?
It is open for the public, but you can
Right.
also call in because it's a zone ordinance change.
Right.
You can call in on the phone in opposition or if you're in favor of it. So, sir, are you in favor of this or in opposition?
No, I'm not in favor or opposition of it. I am just trying to, I'm a little gauche as to understanding the process, forgive me, for how the council works, Mr. President. And I don't understand the rules in the president or things of that nature of how it operates. So I don't understand what you were saying.
Okay, so we have attorneys that are here that can explain it better than I can. If Attorney Lamanna would come to the podium.
This being a zoning amendment, the council president and the advertisement informed the public that they could either call in or be here in person. I understand the other public hearings tonight did not make that offer. People were informed to be here in person. So that's essentially it. Each board and commission can choose to go in person, hybrid with Zoom, and this one has been chosen to do both Zoom, call in, or anyone here wants to speak in favor, and I believe there's a young lady here that's looking to speak in favor.
Mr. President, I understand. Just wanted to clarify it, so I am a little more recognizing the process with the council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the zone ordinance change? Please state your name and your address.
Sure, Cheryl Delicio. It's 14 Parrott Street. So we're actually abutting a piece of property that was purchased by a contractor who was looking to build. And unbeknownst to me, my ignorance of how it all works, years back, I just assumed we were the same R1 as across the street, which would have made sense. We're a very small neighborhood. It wouldn't make sense to overcrowd one side versus the other because now you've congested the entire street. So there's big concern on my part. I wish more of my neighbors had been aware that this meeting was taking place. I understand it was posted in the legal. I don't get the paper, and I don't think most of us do anymore. But I am not for keeping it as an R3. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to have one small side of the street, a different zone than across the street. It's very congested as it is. There's a lot of no parking residences. They don't have places to park. A lot of them park on the street. So now you put an apartment complex or whatever behind us, and it's only going to get worse. And I think our lifestyles of living would change immensely as well from it. I don't think it would be as quiet having an apartment building behind us. So that's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to call in favor can call 781-586-6783. Normally what we do, we keep the portion of either in favor or in opposition open to give people time to call in. Again, anyone wishing to call in favor, 781-586-6783. So in the meantime, while we're calling, is there anyone else in the council chambers that wishes to speak in favor of the zone ordinance change?
Council President, I have two people that wanted to
Have
state
letters
they were in
read?
favor. They just wanted to say they were in favor. Angela.
We'll read the letters at the end.
It's just the names.
Okay.
At the end? Okay.
Hi, is this Sandra? Hi, I'm going to put you on speakerphone with the council.
Hello, could you state your name and your address, and you're speaking in favor of the zone ordinance change, correct?
Sandra?
Hello?
Hello? Sandra? Yeah, I wasn't able to hear your question. Just speak in favor. State your name and address, okay? I'm sorry, what is this call about? I'm not quite sure what this is. It's about Parrot Street. Hello? Hi, it's about Parrot Street. It's a bad connection. I can't hear anything. You saying something? Okay, it's regarding Parrot Street, the zoning change. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything. Do you hear me now? Yeah.
She's still on the line? All right, so I'm not going to close that part of the hearing. Anyone in opposition, anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please come to the podium. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition, anyone wishing to call in opposition, 781-586-6783. I'm opening the part of hearing, and I'm to anyone wishing to speak in opposition can come to the podium or call in 781-586-6783.
Whoa,
I don't understand it.
whoa. Whoa,
Hello?
whoa. It's like a speakerphone here.
Yep.
So you wishing to speak in opposition or in favor of the zone ordinance change on Parrott Street, sir?
I'm for the single family,
For the single families.
single family houses. The one with the R1 children.
Okay, could you just state your name and your address, sir, so for the record?
Richard Moore, 24 Parrott Street. Did you get that?
Yes.
Yes, so you're in favor of the zone ordinance change, correct?
Can you repeat? Say that again?
You're in favor of the zone ordinance change? Are you in favor?
Sir, you are in favor of the zone ordinance change, correct?
Yes, I'm in favor for the,
Okay, thank you, sir.
okay, do you need to talk to anybody else in my house?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor or in opposition can call in on 781-586-6783. I will keep the line open for 1 minute. Anyone wishing to speak in favor?
Right.
Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition can call in 781-586-6783. I will keep the line open for 1 minute. Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council? Councilor Staben.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this portion of Parrott Street is the only section of that neighborhood that is zoned R4. Directly across the street is zoned R1. In fact, the whole neighborhood that's bordered by Essex Street, across from Ingalls School, Fayette Street to Chatham Street, all those streets behind, Williams Ave, Trinity Ave, Bruce Place, the north side of Parrott Street are all zoned R1. And it only makes sense that all of Parrott Street is zoned R1. There is a particular piece of property, it's probably the only developable piece of property that is behind some of the residents' homes that abut the south side of Parrott Street and the railroad tracks. That has been a nuisance property as long as I've been the counselor. An illegal contractor yard, dumping, storage of God knows what, unkept property, rats and rodents that find their way into the neighbor's property. It would only make sense to make this whole neighborhood all the same, and that is to make it an R1. So I make a motion that we make the southwesterly portion, the even number side of Parrott Street, R1.
Second.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis? Yes. Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey? Absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes. Next public hearing.
Petition of Good Chemistry for a sign permit at 696 Western Ave.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Please state your name and your address, sir.
President, I have a presentation I can make, I wrote. I'd like to read that. My name is Mark Conserva from Metro Signing Awning, 170 Lorem Street in Tewksbury, with the designated representative of good chemistry. May I read my presentation? The petitioner is Good Chemistry Alternative Medicine. The locus is 696 Western Ave in Lynn. Assessors map 37, lot 727-2. The zoning district is Business District BD. The relief requested pursuant to the City of Lynn ordinance regulating signs, Section 5, subsection C, signs permitted in business districts, paragraph 1 and paragraph 1.a, to allow a third wall sign measuring 160.42 square feet. Section 6 of the ordinance special permit. The City Council may permit more than the number of signs hereby permitted or signs of greater size if it is determined certain conditions exist such that an additional sign or signs of a larger size should be permitted in the public interest. The relevant requirements for signs in the business district as set forth in the ordinance regulating signs, Section 5, as follows. C.1, permanent signs per business allowed 2. C.1a, maximum signage square footage of wall signs 32 square feet. As exhibits here, I have presented the council with copies of the detailed drawings, photos of the existing and proposed conditions, sign locations and descriptions, as well as the petitioner's narrative explaining the need for relief from the site ordinance. I'd like to read a brief narrative if I could. Honorable City Council, on February 26, 2019, the Lynn City Council granted a special permit to Good Chemistry of Massachusetts to operate a marijuana retail business at 696 Western Ave. Special permit is recorded in South Essex Registry of Deeds, Book 37426, page 556, dated April 8, 2019, and a copy of which is attached to this application. 696 Western Ave is located in the corner of at the intersection of Western Ave and Center Street. Substantial renovations to the structure are ongoing or completed. As with literally all retail establishments, signage is a critical component in allowing patrons to safely and efficiently locate its businesses. Permits for 2 wall signs, which 2 allowed in the business district, measuring a total of 22.7 square feet, have been issued by the Inspection Service Department. Both are internally illuminated aluminum pan signs with acrylic logo and letters, recess mounted into the corrugated building, sheathing, drawings, copies, permits are attached to this application. The script on both is identical. The signature green corporate logo G and letters Good Chemistry with heights between 3.3 inches and 2.9 inches. Location number 1 is located at the front of the building facing Western Avenue. There is a locust plan just beyond the drawings of this package. Where was I here? Location number 1 is located in the front of the building facing Western Avenue, is only visible when directly in front of the building. Location number 2 on the left side of the building will be visible to patrons traveling southeast and Western Ave. The visibility of this sign is somewhat restricted due to the close proximity to the structure on the abutting parcel. The City Council has the right, as stated in Section 6 of the Lynn Sign Ordinance, to increase the allowed size and number of signs through the special permit process when deemed appropriate and prudent. The right facade of the building facing the parking lot with visibility from both Center Street and patrons approaching from the northeast on Western Avenue is the obvious location for the business's primary sign, which is our location 3. The proposed sign for this location is an internally illuminated, halo-lit logo and letter set mounted on an aluminum panel recessed into the metal sheathing. The backlit letters and logos mounted with 1.5-inch spaces produce a soft reflective illumination off the back of panel. The sign's dimensions, including the panel, are 84 inches in height by 275 inches in length to equal There's a typo there. It should be 160.42 square feet. The slightly raised acrylic script includes the company's signature green G logo and the script Good Chemistry. The 18-inch high letter height and length and width of the sign are in scale and proportion to the large facade, measuring 14 feet in height by approximately 75 feet in length. Illumination time of the sign will conform to the city's ordinance of no illumination between 12 midnight and 6 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council? Councilor Hogan.
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Motion made. Seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Counsel Barton? Absent. Counsel Chakutis? Yes. Counsel Calucci? Absent. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Stabbit?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes. Next public hearing.
We have the petition of Mass General Brigham for a sign permit at 480 Linfield Street.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Please come to the podium, state your name and your address.
My name is Ed Jaralowitz. I'm with Metro Sign, 170 Lorem Street in Tewksbury. I'm here on behalf of Mass General Brigham. With me in the audience also are Mary Jo Gagnon and Shelley Bassania from Mass General Brigham and North Shore Medical Center. Thank you. We're asking that we here to ask to be allowed a series of signs that are needed to clearly direct people and patients into this new facility on 480 Linfield Street. The building itself is used in two different sections. There's one section there that's made for urgent care, and people go in there would be there without appointment, with some type of injury or illness that they need immediately treatment for. The other part of the building is occupied by is their healthcare center, and it's occupied by North Shore Physicians Group, which is a series of doctors' offices, and Salem Hospital, and they have other services in there, such as radiology and the like. So what we're asking for is two signs up high in the building. One on the right sign that identifies the building as Mass General Brigham Healthcare Center. Another sign on the left, upper left of the building, that identifies the building as urgent care. These signs are up there meant to be read from the road for people going by. Further down on the face of the canopy, in front of the two separate entrances, one sign that reads Healthcare Center and another sign that reads Urgent Care to direct people in the parking lot to the correct entrance that they're going to. And then there are a few pedestrian signs near the entrance, one right beside each entrance. And the idea there is people that are already on the sidewalk, it just tells them, just confirms who's inside that entrance, and it gets them to where they want to go. So the couple features about these signs, except for the pedestrian signs, the four signs that are up on the building are all internally illuminated. The icon itself will have a translucent teal vinyl on it, so that will fully light up. But all the letters are made so that they're going to appear blue daytime, and then they'll appear white nighttime. And that's done by using a perforated vinyl that has holes in approximately 30% of the face, so that some light will come through. So as you look at the drawings and you see the big white panel that the letters are mounted on, that white does not light up. Only the letters, okay, and the logo will light up, minimizing the amount of light coming out. Also, there are 2 entrances, okay, into this facility. At each entrance, we will have a freestanding sign, and it's the same situation with that. The white background does not light, only the letters themselves will illuminate. So we ask that you consider this, that medical facilities are quite different than office buildings and retail locations, in that the people that are coming there, their patients, okay, are often under duress. They're sick, they've been injured. A lot of times they're elderly, they have trouble with mobility, okay? It could be a mother bringing a child there with a child screaming in the car. So we want to make sure that whoever's coming to this facility will have the proper direction to the correct entrance when they get in there. So we're asking that, I'd like to submit that granting this would be in the public interest, and we ask that you grant a special permit for the signs proposed.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Lozey, can you just stay, sir, right there at the podium?
Yeah,
Councilor Lozey has a question.
Usually we'll get diagrams to pass amongst us so we can look at your proposed signs. Do you have any diagrams that show these proposed signs?
I'm sorry, I asked the city councilor, I thought that you had that. I actually...
You emailed it to me, but I can't
excuse me,
print them out like
I'm misstating
you would
that.
present it, and then it's not my burden to give it to my colleagues.
I understood, but I did check with the city clerk today, and she told me I didn't need to print out drawings that
Well,
I assume that you
may
had
not,
them.
it's not a requirement, but it's certainly helpful for us to understand. So you don't, that's the answer. I just have a couple of questions while you're
Certainly.
here. Now, the lights that you described and how they'll change at the time, do they also go off when the urgent care and the health center is closed?
We were looking, on the freestanding sign, the portion that says urgent care, okay, is designed to be shut off then.
What do you mean shut off then? It shuts off when it
Shut off
closes?
when urgent care is closed.
Okay, so it will be shut off whenever they're closed?
Yeah. The plan on the rest of the sign and the signs on the building was to keep them illuminated unless there was an objection to that.
I'm going to yield to Councilor Field.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there any indication on those signs indicating that the closest emergency room is Leahy Peabody? For anybody visiting the urgent care, it's closed at all? So it indicates to the residents that the closest emergency room is Leahy Peabody?
There is some window lettering. There is some vinyl window lettering at the entrance that does state that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so any other questions for this gentleman sits down? Seeing none,
One more, just,
go for it, Council.
sorry about that, Mr. President. I'll wait until we move on this motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
You may sit down, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What is the wish of the council? Councilor Lozey.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve with conditions that the signs, the lights on the signs are shut off when whether it's the healthcare or the urgent care, when they're closed. So whenever they're closed, the signs should be off so as not to attract people to come thinking they're open.
Motion has been made by
Second.
Councilor Lozey with the condition that when the urgent care is closed, that the sign be shut off. I have a
Second with
second.
those conditions.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbed?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes. Next public hearing.
We have the petition of Rosabel Ruiz, owner of Tipico Centro Americano, for a permission to add a wine and malt license at an existing restaurant at 68 Market Square.
Mr.
Anyone
President,
wishing to
through
speak
the
in
members
favor?
of Council,
Attorney
I'm Attorney Vitale. Here
Vitale.
with me is Roosevelt and his daughter. They came to this country 20 years ago from El Salvador. They came to Lynn 15 years ago. They bought a house. They started a business. They've been successful in Market Square. And what they're seeking, because they're in a business district, the council requires that before one can go to the license board and request a beer and wine license, that they first need the approval of the council, and that's what they're asking for. I'd be glad to answer any question any members have. As I say, Roosevelt's here with his daughter. It's a family-run business, and I think for the past 15 years, they service out of the diverse community, Central American folks who are here in Lynn, and I would hope the council would act favorably on their request.
Thank you, Attorney Vitale. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
I'd like to speak in favor. Hello, this is Francis Martinez from the North Shore Latino Business Association. Típico Centroamericano is a member of the association. We are also in favor for them to apply and to be approved for this petition.
Okay, thank you, Francis. You're speaking in favor, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, Francis.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What is the wish of the council? Councilor Hogan.
Yes, before we move on here, I'd like to, first I'd like to make a motion to approve with a couple stipulations here. He has been a great business in Ward 6 for many years now. Mr. Ruiz and his family has been an outstanding business at that. So we are going to put some stipulations on this here, that they close at 10:30 p.m. for 2 years, and then we'll revisit this in 2 years and just see how he did. But like I said, there's been no complaints, nothing from this business, and he's been an outstanding business, so I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion made with stipulations.
Stipulations, yes.
Motion made, seconded, discussion, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbit?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes. Next public hearing.
We have the petition of K&K Development Corp. for 181 residential units with a shortage of first-floor commercial space at 50 Friend and Silsby Street.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Attorney Phelan, could you please state your name and your address?
Attorney Vincent Phelan on behalf of the petitioner at 10 Grosvenor Parks, City of Lynn. If I may, I am here on behalf of the petitioner to request a special permit from the City Council in regard to a shortage of commercial space at this particular location. In regard to the petitioner, he's been in front of the council before, and he's been in front of the Board of Appeals before. Councilor Hogan knows this well. On North Common Street, prior to the pandemic, this petitioner was before for a special permit, and he redid the buildings on North Common Street above the daycare, adult daycare center, in which he got good housing in there in a dilapidated building, which was basically uninhabitable at the particular time. There absolutely have been no complaints, and everything went fine. What we're asking for here is for the shortage of space, for commercial space in front on Silsby and Friend Street. We've been dealing with the ward councilor in regard to this. It's right across from Harrington. If you look at that particular area, we're looking at 181 units to put in there for residential, as indicated in your plans that were presented to you. And what we're looking for here, it's not really conducive to have too much commercial space down below there, because it's right across the street from Harrington School. And so he's looking for 1,000 square feet for commercial space, which would basically be a convenience store. That would alleviate the parking or the traffic that goes on there during the pickup and drop-off time for kids in the school. But the convenience store that would be there would be absolutely convenient for everyone. It would be parents that are dropping off their kids, it would be fine. So we're asking for those considerations, and we ask that the special permit be approved.
Thank you, Attorney Phelan. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Before Attorney Phelan sits down, does anyone have any questions? I have Councilor Lapierre.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to be clear that the special permit that we're voting on has nothing to do with the units themselves. It's about the shortage of the commercial on the first floor.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I do have a quick question. How many 2 bedrooms and are there any 3 bedrooms?
Yes, there are. The breakdown. No, there's 2, 1, and utilities.
2 ones and what?
And use studios.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none? Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Please state your name and your address.
Good afternoon, Isaac Hodes, 28 Flint Street. I appreciate the time. So I just rushed over here, and I just want to raise an issue in terms of process. The announcement in the newspaper was incredibly confusing, apparently to the point that the staff here are confused as well, reasonably so. It was announced earlier, and I saw the live stream, that you would not take calls over the phone or online, or we couldn't do it that way remotely. We had to be here. I don't see any reason why you would have one hearing where you can do remote participation, and then
Sir, are you speaking in favor or in opposition?
I'm in opposition, and
So please state why you're speaking in opposition.
Okay, one issue is that the process has been undemocratic and has not allowed sufficient public input. Case in point, that there were contradictory messages about whether people could call in. So I had to rush over here, and people with kids, people with other obligations don't have that option. And we just heard a call taken just now when earlier.
So I'm going to ask Attorney Lamanna to please come to the podium and explain exactly why that was done.
So this board did not advertise for a Zoom hearing tonight. So the public was told if they were going to be here in favor or against to be here in person.
So is there a reason why? Meaning that I'm not in favor of doing the phone calling, but I was told we had to do it for the zoning change and the zoning change only.
That's correct. For the zone change, that was the first item on the agenda. That's correct.
Okay. So why though?
This is the discretion of the council, and it was not advertised for Zoom.
So all abutters were notified, am I correct?
By law, anyone 300 feet to the left, to the right, across the street and behind, were notified by the city clerk's office as required by MGL Chapter 48.
So the city, did the attorneys send out, the attorneys did as well, correct?
That's correct.
So the counselor is aware of that? Counselor, you're aware that all abutters were notified properly? Am I correct? Okay.
There's some more opposition.
Isaac, please come back to the podium.
So I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if the legalities say that you can do it that way, but clearly in the interest of public participation and democracy, it doesn't make sense. You have the technology, you have the ability to let people call in. It was announced in a way that made it sound like you could call in. I called in and asked and was told yes, and then it was announced you couldn't. So I'm not trying to place blame and say someone should, be called to task for that, but I'm saying that this should be tabled so that there can be clear indication as to what the process is, because I think a lot of people do have.
So if I can explain, part of the reason why I'm not a big fan of that is because you saw earlier when we had a couple of phone calls come in and it was unaudible. When the people were trying to speak, we couldn't hear them or understand them. And there's no reason why, and you're here at the podium, and anyone else could come to the podium as well. So if people couldn't come here today, they could have sent a letter in opposition or in favor of it. So everybody's been given an opportunity to speak either way, for or against.
Except people who had the misimpression that they could call in today and then were told they couldn't. I'm not
No
saying
one was told they could call in.
the announcement in the newspaper gave that impression.
Was there an announcement in the newspaper that they could call in on this?
Not that I'm aware of. City clerk was.
Just the zoning, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So if the threshold for participating in this,
Okay, continue.
well, I'll get to the actual content of this, but I'm just going to say if the threshold for participating in decisions that affect our whole city is you got to be some kind of lawyer to be able to carefully parse every announcement and understand that for some bizarre reason, one hearing can be allowed remote comment and others can't, then that doesn't sound like people who are really interested in hearing public input in democracy. And I think it's a mistake, and I think you should table this and make it clear. And then if people do have to come in person during a pandemic to make a comment, they can make arrangements ahead of time, whether it's childcare, whether it's interpretation, et cetera. So, it's up to you guys, but I think it was confusing, and I think in the interest of transparency, it would be good to table it and allow people a clear chance to understand how they can make comment. In terms of my specific comments, you guys are probably sick of hearing me, and I'm sick of hearing the same thing, but we don't see the process changing. So in this particular case, again, it's a developer who's asking to be able to change the rules. I think the rules should apply to everyone, whether you're rich or not. And in this case, there's some good reasons for those kind of rules about having certain amounts of commercial activity in the first floor. People who are experts in urban planning and design can speak to that better than I can, but it has to do with things like creating an engaging space, activating the area, et cetera. So I think that's important to recognize that there are reasons for that requirement. It's not just there for no good reason. In particular, in this case, what you see again and again in other cities that have gone through this kind of process is you have a sort of little enclave that's almost like a one-building gated community where it's mostly wealthier people there, and they're just sort of divided from the rest of the community. Having open public commercial space that's substantial is one way to make sure you don't get that. So that's one comment. In terms of my opposition to this, I'm not against development. I want to see it happen. Lynn needs housing. Lynn needs lots of new jobs. So I'm not against it, but I'm against it happening without any kind of negotiation. One of the earlier proponents for a previous project mentioned, here are the reasons this is in the public interest. And those are the questions that I think don't get asked when we don't have a real public process. Some of the questions I would have loved to ask if there were more of a public process. Number one, how is this thing going to be built? Is there going to be a commitment from the developer to make sure that some of these jobs go to local people? Is there a commitment to make sure that the jobs pay a living wage with benefits? Is there a commitment to make sure union contractors get a fair shake and a fair shot? We don't know because we haven't seen details. In terms of what gets built, how much of this housing is affordable? How many of the units are family size? We just heard maybe none for larger families. If there is affordability, at what level? What's the mix? What's the breakdown? How does it help Lynn in its housing crisis? Doesn't mean 100% is affordable, but it means there should be some mix. How does this project impact the issue of segregation? How does the project impact our city's legal requirement to affirmatively further the goals of fair housing, civil rights? We don't know, and those questions should be asked. Those are the kind of public benefits we should see in exchange for giving this developer something, the ability to break the rules and have this project go forward not in conformity. So those are the questions I would ask. I would like to see time for those debated. And one last thing that I think is important, Councilor Hogan, I believe, asked a previous proponent of a previous project, or spoke to the fact that business owner was responsible and they'd been a good influence on the community. So I think it's very relevant to ask, who were these developers and are they responsible? I don't know a whole lot about them, but I'll tell you one thing. I noticed that someone with the same name, and I believe it's the same person, Mr. Koritnik, has evicted a number of people for non-payment of rent during the pandemic, despite the fact that there were programs that could prevent those evictions. And to me, endangering the public health of our community, seeking profit by evicting from other properties in the building is not an indication of someone who's responsible. And it seems like there should be more discussion to make sure in this new development, there will be more responsibility to our community's needs. So I respectfully request that it be tabled so there could be some discussion and maybe the developer can describe why they would be responsible. But I would like to see a public process. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Before I ask the council to make a motion, I'm going to ask Attorney Lamont to come back to the podium. So before I ask the council to make a motion, everyone was notified that should have been notified. Am I correct in making that statement?
From a legal perspective, everyone that was required to have notice received notice of this hearing.
And the way it was advertised in the paper
Was lawful, correct?
was lawful. Do any of the other councilors have any concerns or questions for Attorney Lamarna?
I'd like to, Attorney Phelan, please. What I'd want, I'd want some affordable housing in this building, units.
What would you propose?
5% for now?
Can you give me one? We agree to them.
Can we do, well, which units?
What's that?
Which units could you do the 5%?
What we would do, the studios and the one bedrooms and the 80% AMI.
Pardon me?
80% AMI.
Please, go ahead, Attorney Phelan.
So you'll do 5 studios and 4 one-bedrooms affordable.
It would be, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It would be either the studios and the one-bedrooms, and then as far as affordability, I believe it can be 80 MI, but I think if they have to slide it down to 60, then that would be fine. So it would be that 60 to 80% AMI level.
Okay. And it'll be
60 would be.
4 ones and 5 studios?
Yes.
We agree on that. We can agree on that.
It's done.
So 80% of AMI is area medium income, which is consistent with the formula that Lynn falls under, which is Boston's formula. Whether or not we agree with that or not, that's what the formula is. So with the stipulation, are you making a motion?
Yes.
Sir, please.
have a question for the attorney.
Councilor Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for Attorney Phelan, please. With the reduction of commercial space, what will that space be used for? Okay, so the number of residential units doesn't increase or decrease based on the vote today?
That's right.
Okay.
So what we're looking at is 10 units in the building that would be considered affordable. If you're going with 5%,
Nine.
it's 9 point, so it's 10 to me. Correct?
Yep.
You know, and also, I'd like to stress a few things. I remember Sagamore Street. There was a parking lot owned by the parking department, and they had wood and rat-infested place. I bargained with them to sell it to the Housing Authority, have 700 Washington Street now, all affordable in Ward 4. This is in Ward 4. I've been doing on Herbert Street, a drug house, all affordable housing now. Okay, so I don't want to hear the stuff that I'm not affordable housing. Thank you. Motion to approve.
Motion made with the stipulation. Counselor?
Yes, sir.
Motion made with the
Second.
stipulation of 5%. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, discussion. Counselor Staben.
No, I second.
Oh, you second, okay. Counselor Lapierre.
I just want to be clear before we vote. I believe the developer has met our demand of 60% AMI, not 80. It was I think a 60 to 80 sliding scale is what I heard him agree to. So obviously we prefer the 60 for more affordability. So can he clarify that for us?
Yeah, I believe we could do the 60, can we leave it the 60 to 80 AMI scale? 60?
60 would be a preference.
Okay. So we'll agree to the 60.
5% 60.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, K&K.
Any other questions, discussion? Motion made, seconded, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey? Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes. So no other public hearings. Do we want to take off the temporary table, the hiring of Donald Castle, Councilor Barton?
Motion to take it off the table?
Second.
Motion made, seconded. So,
I'll make a motion to approve.
motion
Second.
made, seconded, discussion, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes. All set. Public hearings to be set down.
We have the petition of Salinas Market at 361 Boston Street for a sign permit. Petition of Crunch Fitness at 43 State Street for a sign permit. Petition of Grace City Church, East Coast International Church at 31 Stetson Street for retail use for the Loft at Stetson, a thrift boutique shop. Petition of East Coast International Church, the Haven Project, to create 24 studio units of affordable housing in the vacant third and fourth floor at 57 Monroe Street. Petition of National Grid for a granted location to install conduits in front of 77 Broad Street. Petition of Comcast for a grant of location to install a new conduit to provide service to 98 Market Street. And that's it.
So wish of the council.
No.
Motion to set down.
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Committee reports, licensing, Councilor Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a unanimous vote by the committee. Motion to approve.
Motion made.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public properties, Councilor Staben.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two items. One was discussion with Dr. Tutwiler, Superintendent of Schools, regarding the need for additional school property. Unanimous vote of the committee to authorize the mayor to explore a first right of refusal agreement for the property owned by Lynn Economic Opportunity at 40 Commercial Street, as they will soon be moving into a new location. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Motion made.
Second.
Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey? Absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Second item, Mr. President, was removing deed restrictions on property located at 91 Collins Street. Ordered that the law department is authorized to prepare, and in his honor, the mayor is authorized to execute a confirmatory deed removing all conditions contained in a deed from the city of Lynn dated February 23, 1990, filed in Southern Essex County Registry of Deeds, Book 10340, page 470, for the property at 91 Collins Street, Massachusetts. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Motion made.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Utilities, Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Motion made. Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Ways and Means, Councilor Net.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, all voted unanimously by the committee to approve. I make a motion to accept all transfer.
Motion made.
Second.
Seconded. I'm going to ask the clerk to read all the orders.
$50,000 to the Lynn Public Library for Library Services and Technology Act, LTSA, utilizing APRA funds. $106,933 to the School Department for the Parents Plus 237 grant program. $299,178 to the Fire Department for the State 911 Department Support and Incentive Grant. $293,600 to the Fire Department for the FY20 Assistance to Firefighters Grant. $23,547 to the Fire Department for the State 911 Department Emergency Medical Dispatch Grant Program. Certified $16,887.40 is allotted to the City of Lynn Fire Department for the State 911 Training Grant. $142,993 to the School Department for the FY22 Coordinated Family and Community Engagement Grant 237 program. $62,500 to the School Department for the FY22 FC 406 Career and Technical Ed Grant program. $100,000 to the School Department for the FY22 FC 106 CVTE Equitable Access Grant program. $104,692 to the School Department for the FY22 FC 412 Comp Career and Tech Grant program. Transfer the sum of $29,360 from the reserve account to the TBD account to fund the city portion of match for grant for Fire Department and the AFG grant recently awarded by FEMA. Transfer the sum of $400,000 from the capital stab fund account to the ISD expense professional contract account to fund the city portion of the roof repair for Callahan School. Ordered that His Honor the Mayor is hereby authorized to execute a 3-year contractual extension for a total of 6 years with Ticketmaster LLC for the purpose of providing ticketing vending services for the City of Lynn Memorial Auditorium.
Motion has been made.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey? Absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbird?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes. So under old business,
Mr. President. Okay, they all vote for emergency. I make a motion to approve.
motion made for an emergency.
Second.
Seconded. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Starbird?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes. So again, under old business, we tabled the hearing for 5658 Ocean Street. I'm going to open that hearing up, and I'm going to ask anyone wishing to speak in favor to please come to the podium. Attorney Vitale, please state your name and your address.
I'm Attorney Sam Vitale. I live at 3 Towns and Terrace in Lynn. My office is at 60 Andrew Street. I represent Ted Contos, who's here with his wife, who's owned the property at Ocean Street for several years. This is what's there now. It's an empty lot, essentially. There used to be a little retail phone shop. At your behest, Mr. President, you required us to mail to well over 150 of the neighbors. We held a meeting, if you recall, on a Saturday afternoon in June. You were there. Many of the neighbors, Ted, his wife, and the architect. What we then presented was a proposal to put 12 apartments in this empty lot where there were no units of housing, and to, at your suggestion, make 2 of them age-restricted for individuals 62 and over. There would be interior parking for all of the units. If you're familiar with the property, if you've attended services over at the Solominian Roads, you know this parking lot. The topography goes down and the grade. As you can see, the building is at street level. It's a 2.5-story building, and then it tapers to the rear. There's an entrance to the parking garage that's underneath. There'd be 12 units, as I say. 2 of them would be age restricted. 6 of them are going to be townhouse styles. That's why you see that second half story above the first 2 stories. Based on the reaction that we had from the people who live in the Diamond District in that area, I think it was fair to say it was a positive meeting. Since then, Mr. President, we have met with certain and spoken with some of the abutters, immediate abutters, who had some concerns, and I think we've addressed those, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that any member may have.
Thank you, Attorney Lamanna. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Lauren Bateman, and I live at 47 Ocean Street. I'm right across the street, and I'm totally in favor. My one question was the parking. Could they remind us how many parking spaces there were for that space? Yeah. Because I think that was like the biggest concern for the community.
There's an underground parking garage that will be underneath this building, and this is Ocean Street here, and you enter into here, go into the parking garage, which is right over here. And there would be one space, the exterior of the building would be over here. So there's a total of 16 spaces.
16 with the...
That's more than required.
What does HUP mean, Ted, when it says HUP?
Sorry?
What does HUP mean on 12 and 13? Or what is that?
Handicap.
Oh, handicap spots, okay.
Yeah, 2 of them are handicapped.
HCP.
Once you have more than 10 spaces, you have to dedicate at least one.
Handicap, placard. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition?
Good
Please
evening,
state your name and your address, sir.
Joseph Thornton, 34 Ocean Street, Lynn. I've been a resident here for 12 years. I'm very familiar with the area, as you well are, sir, and your district and Ward 3. Ocean Street, let me say this to begin with. I'm a little gauche. I am not familiar with the rules and procedures of building codes per se. I work on common sense, okay? Unfortunately, back in June, I was not able to attend the meeting that you were at with Mr. Lykos, which I had the pleasure of speaking with today, okay? Now, let me be clear. I am not in opposition of this project. I am not in opposition of property being built. I am in opposition of the size and the scope, considering the area in which it's built on, in which it's built around. Let me make a couple points. One is the traffic congestion on the street is intolerable on Ocean Street. If you know, as well as I do on Ocean Street where I live, if you look there in any evening, that street, and I'll tell you, I don't even drive. I don't drive a car. I don't have a car. And I got plenty of parking spots. I'm here for the residents of this city, okay? Because I care and I'm invested, okay? But I'll tell you this. That Ocean Street, number one, is a danger, okay? Next to me on 34 Ocean Street, there's 30 Ocean Street. There's 12 units. There's approximately 20 people who live in that building. There's 5 parking spots. Next to me is Jim, I forget his last name, owns the property next to me. There's 10 units there. There's 7 parking spots, okay? Now, I'm visually impaired, okay? Not to use that as a cudgel, but what I'm saying is I walk out on that street. That street is dangerous. There's 20 buses that go down that street
per day. Okay? Now, as long as I've been here, okay, recently there was just 4 units put in on 40 Ocean Street, okay, which I did not oppose because there was a housing issue. And I understand there's a housing issue. And there's a serious housing issue because I own property, okay? And I understand this, since how difficult it is for people to afford housing in Lynn, okay? However, the issue also in parking is that you have Christopher's across the street, which you've put barriers there for the business itself so it can continue operating under the COVID situation, which I am in favor of for the business because they needed the outdoor, but it's taken up at least 4 spots in that area. So, between my house, there is 12 units, there are 10 units, and now we're proposing 12 units next to 40 Ocean Street, where, may I say, there is a bus stop, okay, that is there, that you know. There's a bus stop that stops right there. There's no parking there. Now, I said there was, I thought there was 18 spots. As I read in the proposals that you have here, which, may I say, with all due respect, sir, and I wasn't there at the meeting, and I wish I was, because I could have tried to give you my concerns in the past, okay, which I've gotten no answer from anybody. Okay, there are no dimensions in terms of what the slopes are, what the sewage plans are, anything of that nature. Now, that's beside the parking itself, okay? That's my concern. Now, just having said that, just in the parking in itself, and the funeral home across the street, which sometimes uses, he lets them use their spot. And I have said to Mr. Lycos, and I am not, like I said, I'm not opposed to this project. I am opposed to the size and the scope of the project for the safety of the community. Okay? Now, you've got approximately 22, maybe 20, I'm going to say conservatively 22 bedrooms. That's 22 vehicles. I'm going to assume that we need spots for that are not there. Okay? So can anybody tell me in here where you're going to park these vehicles? Now, having mentioned that, what are we going to do in terms of just the sewage that goes on? Now, I understand it has to go, he's enlightened me to some of what's going on. He's been kind enough to enlighten me to some of what's going on in terms of the process, because as I said, I'm a neophyte. However, the property is above Seaside Terrace, approximately 2 feet. Now, as I look at the dimensions, it's going to take up about 96 feet, 96 feet, the property is 96 feet, and I'm going to just say, because I'm visually impaired, I'm going to say it's about 70 feet. I don't know how many square feet, but there's going to be some water displacement issues in terms of flooding for the people that are behind there that don't live there, that live there but don't own the property, that are not really invested per se, with no disrespect to them, on that street, okay? That's the second issue, okay? My third issue is with what will we do with the rodent infestation that's in that area. Now, I've talked to residents, I've gone around, did my due diligence. I mean, people are catching rodents the size of cats, okay? That's the other thing. Now, in my experience in the last 13 years, I don't know nothing, I'm not an engineer. I know there's been sinkholes in that area by Jim, whatever his name is, that lives on 40 Ocean Street. No disrespect. There's been sinkholes in that property. I've seen them. And even in that parking lot. Okay? So when I first saw this, Mr. President, these specifications, that everybody was like, oh, these are, oh yeah, it's great. A lot of them have driveways. I have driveways. I could say I don't care, but I do care about the people that do live there, the people that do live at 40 Ocean Street, okay? And the traffic that's congested in that area. Very congested. The children that come down Seaside Street, okay? We've had enough of our share of what's going on in terms of traffic and not being mitigated. So let me say this just to end it, Mr. President. I have tried to contact your office several times, with all due respect, and try to discuss this with you. And I have gotten no answer from you. Okay? I find that in itself inherently disgraceful. And you know what's going on here. And it's a danger. Now, I'm willing to say that, fine, build the property. But does it have to be 12 units? Does it have to be? Can we find a fair assessment where there's parking and enough space to make room for the buses that come through there, that stop there? We have our burden there on Ocean Street. We're the shithole from...
Sir, please don't...
I'm sorry. Forgive me, I'm sorry. From Marblehead and Swampscott in that area. I say respectfully that I'm not against it. I am just against the size and the scope of the property. It's going to be down from 12 to maybe 8, and where the parking can be reasonable. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Please state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Marla Dolan. I live at 12 Ocean Terrace, unit number 2. I'm a direct abutter to this property, and I agree with a lot of the statements that this gentleman made. I'm not opposed to the project in general. I'm opposed to the size and the scope. I think it's too big of a footprint for that property. My back property line abuts this property, and the size of that building is going to diminish the quality of my historic home in the Diamond District, in my opinion. I appreciate, and I've met with Ted. I did go to that session in June. I know I talked to you there as well. There were probably a good 50 neighborhood residents there. I also oppose this process as well for similar reasons to the gentleman who spoke earlier. I got a legal notice in the mail for the August 10th hearing. We came here, we sat here for almost 2 hours to then hear them just say it's been rescheduled at the very end. And there were other residents that were coming to speak that it was just gone. And then yesterday around 1 o'clock, I found a folded up wet piece of paper under my patio furniture that said the notice was tonight. I know there are residents that wanted to come and speak that were not given that opportunity. I understand from some of what said earlier, this is a zoning change as well as a development, and zoning changes should be allowable to be on the Zoom for people to call in. There is a neighbor who is another abutter who's unable to attend due to the last minute notice. She requires someone to drive her and assist her. So for those things. Now, that said, I've met with Ted. He was very reasonable in meeting me when I've asked to meet. We've talked about stipulations for the property. I want to make sure that those are in any agreement, such as where the location of the garbage facilities would be. There is a rat problem in that neighborhood. I'm concerned about the parking. As he said, we have lost parking spots in that neighborhood little by little by little. It's a very congested area. On my street on Ocean Terrace, people have started putting cones out now to save a spot so they can park somewhere near their house. That corner, as right at the spot on Ocean, New Ocean where it comes, I can say in the last 2 years there's probably been 3 or 4 major car accidents because people drive, they don't realize the road is curving, and they smash right into that corner there. They have replaced the siding on it at least twice, but no one wants to park in those 2 spots, or the people that do. I've seen cars totaled multiple times in the middle of the night with these accidents as people are rushing down that street. I'm sorry, I didn't prepare. I was expecting another legal notice where we'd have time to know about it, not a little piece of paper saying, hey, it's tomorrow. And this is the last hearing, and there's only one hearing. So, in terms of the sewage situation, I know Lynn is growing. We've added hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of apartment units, and we have not done anything about the sewer system. And I'm tired of living 200 yards from a sewage outlet onto the beach that makes it unusable for all the residents of that neighborhood. And this is a small property development, but I really implore the Lynn City Council to please start thinking about that. The beach is one of the things that we have that we can be proud of, and we are the worst beach in the entire state, which is horrible. So I guess my request is also to table this, to give sufficient notice so that people can come speak and ask about it. And again, I'm not opposed to the process. I appreciate the work that they're doing to try to make it fit in a historical neighborhood. I still just think it's too big of a footprint for that property. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Sir, you've already spoken. Sir, you've already spoken.
You don't mind one thing?
Sir, you've already spoken. Please sit down. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Councilor Barton, can you please come up?
Council President's here.
Thank you. So, right off the bat, I'm going to address why you didn't get a call back. Main reason is because there were 2 Joes that were calling, and I was returning calls to Joe. I found out tonight that there was a second Joe, which must have been you. So I was returning phone calls. It's very rare that I don't give a phone call back to someone, and if I don't give a phone call, I usually knock on their door and talk with them. But that being said, there was a meeting back in June where well over 35, 40 people attended. As Attorney Vitale stated, when this was brought to me, I asked them to go way beyond the boundaries of people who should be notified. That's why we got that many people to attend. Now, the public hearing was actually set for August 10th, and there was not one person in the audience to speak in favor or in opposition that night. Notices went out to everybody who was in a butter. Why you didn't get them, I don't know. Legally, you can ask our city clerk, you can ask the attorneys, they were sent out. To say you didn't get them, I can't answer the reasons why. So when we had the original public meeting in the parking lot, when we had the original meeting in the parking lot, as I stated, there are a number of people. There were 2 or 3 people who talked in opposition of it. But the majority of people that were there were in favor of the project. When the project was first brought to me, it was on a lot larger scale than what it is right now. And I told them if they wanted to get my support, they had to downsize it. They provided enough parking for all the units, which is 1.5 per unit. And when you're talking about over 62, you're talking 0.25 parking spots. So for those 2 units, you only need 1 spot. So up until the last week or 2 is when I started getting notices that there were some concerns, and it was about the parking. They're providing enough parking for the people who live in that building. It's not their responsibility to provide parking for the buildings that don't have enough parking, whether it be for a building with 5 spots, and that's unfortunate. Those buildings were built when the zoning laws were a lot different than today. As for outflow into the ocean, this project has absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with the storage of bacteria that's going into the ocean. And they have to go in front of site plan review with water and sewer, DPW, ISD, the fire department, police department, and various other departments in the city will sit with them and tell them exactly what they need to do so that they can provide storage for the people who live in the building, and it won't have an impact on anybody. The way the curb cut's got to be cut so that people going in and out, and absolutely there's a bus stop there. And that went on for months, that argument. And to be honest with you, that I have, and so does the community, have a say right now as to what can be built there. And I have to be fair to the developer.
I would like to abut to what you're saying,
Sir, you can't, because the hearing part is closed. But what I'm saying is that someone could come along at another time, at another date, and ask to build something twice the size.
Someone did about a year ago.
And it didn't happen, did it?
You shut it down.
Thank you. So I am in favor of this, and I am going to make a motion to approve it. And I respect both your opinions, and I ask both of you to work with the developer and his attorney, or their attorney, to address any concerns that you may have with runoff or fencing or bushes or anything like that, because I have found them to be very accommodating to when I ask them to do something. This is a family that has owned this property for a long time. And we can't always control what's going on there. So with that being said, I'm making a motion to approve.
We have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please. Discussion, sorry. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis? Absent. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field? Abstain. Counselor Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey? Absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes. Motion carries. Any other old business? Any new business?
No business, Mr.
Councilor
President.
Barton.
I know that each of the members of the Lynn City Council have each had an opportunity over the past 6 months to read the proposed housing plan for the city of Lynn. I believe we all know the contents of the plan and have made up our own minds. I make a motion to approve the housing plan for the inclusion growth.
Second.
Motion has been made, seconded, discussion. Councilor Staben.
Mr. President, something of this scope should have been placed on the agenda. I don't have any notes with me regarding this. 2 times, MAPC was supposed to come here. Once, they refused over masks. Second, unfortunately, there was a death in the family, and they postponed again. There are many, many issues with this plan, including some of which is flat out illegal. And even though some councilors may have signed on to adopt and support things that are illegal, I think that we need more notice if we're going to discuss it in this body, in this session, in this room. To bring it up under new business, to kick a vote in the last hour, there's been no presentations on it. I don't agree. Wrong place, wrong time.
Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say that I think it's unfair to say there was no presentation. It's been going on for 4 months. We were all very well aware of it. They know that they had all types of public input. There's tons of public input on this project. And I think for any of us to say that we weren't aware of it or we didn't see it is kind of unfair to the rest of us. And I think 4 months ago we should have been dealing with this. My opinion on it, I think this is something the city's going to need. Nothing in that document, as of right now, is holding us to anything in there. You can ask the attorneys. I'm sure they'll come up and talk about it, whether legal or not in it. This is something that's saying we're going to put a plan down for people in the city. There's a need for this. There's a big need. I'm pretty sure all of us driving around, I spend a lot of time around here. There's a lot of people living in the street. There's people that can't afford their apartments. And for us to just say, I don't like this, I don't like that, and kick it for 4 months down the road is unreasonable. I'm sorry. You don't usually hear me speak like this, but that's crap. We all knew it. All of us. And here's the moment now. Take the vote.
Any other discussion? Councilor Staben.
Mr. President, once again, I disagree. Last meeting, we changed zoning for Linfield Street to accommodate 150 senior affordable units. In that same meeting, we also accepted a bid that would put upwards of about 120 affordable senior units at the former Thurgood Marshall Middle School site. That is responsible affordable housing. At public property meeting tonight, we had Dr. Tutwiler stand before us asking us if we'll authorize the mayor to enter into a first right of refusal for the Little Leo site on Commercial Street because there isn't enough room in our schools. I drive up Tracy Ave in my ward, and I see that half the Lynn English parking lot has been taken away to put portables out there because there's no room in the schools. Lynn Public Schools has about 17% of Lynn's population enrolled in them. Almost 17% of Lynn's population is enrolled in Lynn Public Schools. That doesn't count charter schools or private schools, so the number's even higher than that. And to put it into perspective, Quincy is a larger city than Lynn. It has a small percentage more population than Lynn. They have 6,000 fewer students. There is not a community around us that has nearly 17% of its population enrolled in Lynn schools. And I would call on anybody, and again, typically you leave kids out of it, but God damn it, if you're going to vote for this, and you're going to vote to exacerbate the overcrowding in our school systems the way we have it right now, to open up affordable housing, to bring in more families from outside, so that Lynn is the landing zone for everybody that can't afford to live someplace else, when we continually add affordable senior housing in a responsible way to take care of those that have lived here for years, to take care of those that have built this city, to take care of those that have no ability to supplement their incomes, and instead open it up for everybody to further exacerbate the overcrowding of our schools, then God damn it, you should at least have your kids in our schools.
Mr. President.
Councilor Walsh.
Thank you. I just want to talk about a couple of things. 181 residential units added tonight. Right? We did that, right? I don't know. Nobody blew up about that. The 181 people that could be moving into the city, putting their kids in there. I think it's unrealistic that we've been moving forward with projects like this, and saying that, we have issues in the school. We do. I think we recognize that, okay? But, I mean, if they're not market rate, we don't want them? Is that what we're saying? I mean, it's ridiculous. If you're going to put 181 units of market rate, which the percentages of that in one bedrooms, I understand, may knock it down, but you're going to add kids to the school system no matter what. But if they pay a rent based upon 60% AMI, we don't want their kids in the school system? We need a plan. This is a plan. A lot of questions. We have a lot of answers to things that came by. I'm sure they'll continue. This plan is a plan to get us started, and they're going to continue those fights, to talk about those things, because they're real. There were real issues here. Councilor Staubach brings up the school. It's a problem. But I can't sit here and say, it's not a problem for 181 market rate units, but if they're going to be 60% AMI, the hell with it. I don't want them. It's ridiculous.
I'm with Councilor Walsh 100%. He's right. This is a plan, and this is needed. In my Ward 6 area of the city, we have a lot of people that are struggling with the current economics of what's going on in this world, and I'm with Councilor Walsh 100%.
I agree with them also. We're accepting a plan to come to the city. We can work through it after, work out what we can do, what we want to accept. Same thing with Ward 5. I have families, 3 families living in a 2-bedroom apartment. We need some help for people to get out on their own. These kids are already in our school system, most of them that are all living in one apartment with the same families. We need help out there. We're accepting this to get into the city. Then we can from there go and make changes and work with people. We need to accept this plan. I don't know how anyone else feels, but that's how I feel. We need to accept this plan.
Councilor LaPierre.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm also going to be in favor of the housing production plan for the various reasons that my colleague said. And with all due respect to Councilor Staubach, he makes very good points as well. I think, as Councilor Chakutis just said, it's a roadmap. We've been stalling on this for several months. We've all done our homework on this. We've listened to a lot of opinions throughout the city of Lynn. We still are going to have numerous checks and balances along the way as it goes through city government to be able to build something new in our city. And that's why I'm for it. I had some reservations initially, and we got those clarified, and we were told that this is simply a plan that needs to be adopted by this council for it to be implemented, and that's what we're doing. Whether the MAPC, I know they had a death in the family, which just saddens us all. However, we knew exactly what they were going to present to us, frankly, because we've had the data for so long. We've done our studies on this. We're ready to take the vote, and I do approve of it. Thank you.
Any other, Councilor Staubach?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I make a motion that we remove the first right of refusal language from the plan as it has been deemed illegal by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Mr. President, there's already a motion on the floor.
Been seconded.
It's been seconded.
What other laws are we going to break?
Councilor Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to agree with my colleague, Councilor Walsh, that it was a very inclusive process. There were many public hearings that anyone in the city, any developer, any resident could have participated in during the whole entire process. I think it was a clean process. I think it was a fair process, but people try to suggest that they weren't allowed to participate. It's false. I participated in the Zoom meetings, in the in-person meetings, along with a number of my colleagues and a lot of residents within the city. So for anyone to argue that it wasn't inclusive at all, it's not true.
Any other, Councilor Staubach?
Thank you, Mr. President. 600 people approximately participated in that out of 100,000 people that live in the city. And again, there's a proposal in that sent my constituents flippant, where they identified lots of land in R1 districts where people pay a premium to bring up their families in quiet, less densely populated neighborhoods. And it's identified properties in those neighborhoods for potential sites of affordable housing complexes. Now, I didn't see any block of money in that plan of millions of dollars to pay people that paid that premium to live in those neighborhoods. And I think of one across the street from my house where a young family paid big money to live at the end of a dead-end street to raise their small family, and now there's a 5-acre lot right next door to them that's been identified. So I want to know where the money is to pay these people for their losses in value. It's not there. My constituents, I've kept them up to date throughout this whole process, and I know many of them have contacted most of you here because of, even though you may not be their ward councilor, whatever, your vote can turn their neighborhood upside down. Your vote can turn their investment in their property upside down. And I'll tell you what, I know that there's many boxes going to be left vacant in November, and I'll be leaving them myself. I can't believe this.
Councilor Walsh.
Thank you. I just want to say, so they identified properties throughout the whole city. And again, it's a roadmap. None of this is holding us to anyone developing any piece of property definite or not having a say in any of this. And I don't even, the 2 pieces of property, I'm pretty sure are mostly wetlands up there. But if you go back to the process, and if you were at any of the meetings, and if you actually listened to some of the things that were being said there, this is a roadmap. We're not being held to anything. There's going to be tons of committee meetings. We're going to go on for the next 2 years to fight about this. And we will, I'm going to tell you, because there are things in there that I don't like.
Is it a roadmap or is it a plan?
It's an overall plan to give you.
Councilors,
It's an
one at a
overall
time.
plan for a roadmap to try to fix a housing problem in this city, okay? And none of it's forced anyone's hand. Jim LaMotta, could you come up to the podium for a second? Jimmy, can you tell me if anything in that plan holds us to it 100% right now as we sit here?
Nothing is set in stone if this plan is approved tonight. Nothing changes in our zone ordinance, nothing changes on the books.
So it'll be
by a vote this evening.
Thank you. It'll be a continuation going down the road to have the fight about those things. And that's exactly the way it was said 4 months ago to everybody. It's no secret. I respect that people have to understand it. I respect that people need to be able to have a process to go through it. I think we heard people tonight that were upset with some of the processes that were going on. These are processes. It's not going to be easy for any of us. Trust me, I don't sit here and fight with anybody. You know, most people that are here are friends and colleagues of mine, but there's going to be tough votes that we're going to have to take. And sometimes you have to do it and get started here, and then you're going to put in what you don't like and what you do like. There's some things in here I don't like in this plan. I'll tell you that right now, and I know most of you know that. But it doesn't hold us to any of this. We're going to continue to fight this out. We're going to work it out. And we're going to eventually get to some sort of conclusion that has an outcome. And some people on the other side of this who are for it ain't going to like that either. I know that. I respect that.
Thank you,
Councilor
Mr. President.
Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, what Attorney LaMotta just reiterated is that approval of this plan is not binding on any part of it. It's not binding.
Sorry, I didn't
It's
hear
not
that.
binding on any part of this plan on this council. Okay, it doesn't change any zoning in any ward across the city. That's approval done through our council. Okay, it doesn't change the fact that it's areas around the city, Ward 1, Ward 2, all through Ward 7, wherever. Nothing's binding. It doesn't mean that the project being proposed, it was up to the MAPC to identify buildable lots or any lot to be incorporated into this plan. It's a plan. With respect to my counselor, I disagree with any development going on in anybody's backyard. Nothing has been proposed. This is a plan. There's nothing binding by this plan. It's a workable document for us. And that's what their job was, and that's what they did.
Councilor Net.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I respect all my colleagues' ideas, but I have seen and I have known a lot of people love to stay here. They've been here for 30 or 40 years. They work so hard, 2 or 3 jobs. They try to buy homes in a good neighborhood, but they still can't afford to do it because the price is too high. So they decide to move out of the city, and I see that a lot of people start to move out. That's concerning as well, and we want them to stay here. And I think affordable housing is good for some, but not completely total great thing. But this plan is reasonable. I have read it, and I join my colleagues who are willing to support this plan. And I think we just get it done. And I'm on board. Thank you, and I respect all the councilors that are given input to.
Thank you, Councilor Net. Anyone else?
I know there was a lot of bad information on both sides. I think that we accept this plan, and then we can live to battle another day. It's a starting point. We know there's a housing problem. We just give some affordable housing just tonight. That's what I'd like to say about this. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Call the vote.
If the council would allow me to voice my opinion from the podium, thank you. Right up front, I am 100% in favor of affordable housing. 100%. Breaks my heart that people can't afford to live or pay rent or mortgages where they live. The MAPC, that's what their job is to create affordable housing in communities like Lynn. And to give people this, what this does is give people false hope. And what I mean by that is people think right off the bat tomorrow they're going to be able to move into a brand new apartment or a brand new house and it's going to be affordable for them. And I heard one councilor say there are homeless people all throughout Lynn. Absolutely there are homeless people. This is not going to help homeless people. There's a reason why there are homeless people coming into Lynn. Because other communities are sending them here because of all the nonprofit groups and organizations that are in our city that provide services for those people. And we should help them. To say that the public was included in this, that is completely unfair for anybody to say that. There were less than 600 people that participated in this. The majority of people who put this study together don't even live in the city of Lynn. Or they work in housing. I asked the mayor, before they even convened a committee or a pool of people, to include the council in that. We're ignored, and that's disappointing. There was a hand-picked group of people who put this study together. And yeah, we need a roadmap. We absolutely do, but it's got to be the right roadmap. Because if you leave for a road trip and you have the wrong roadmap, you're going to wind up in the wrong place. I respect all my colleagues' feelings on this. But some of the things in there are illegal, and they know that, and they admitted it when we sat and talked to them. And you're right, 100% there are things in there that none of us would benefit from, especially if you own rental properties. But if you think this is going to help bring development into the city, it absolutely isn't. You heard the gentleman in the back when Councilor Colucci was asking them to provide affordable housing in that 181-unit building. And he said he would. I'm not saying the number was good, but when he said 80% AMI, that's what the formula is in Boston, 80% AMI. That means a single person who works in our area to qualify for affordable housing has to make $119,000 a year. When people in Lynn, a family of four, are only making $45,000 a year. And when you say you want the AMI to consist of 50% or 60%, you are not going to see any development come into Lynn at all on the scope that we're talking about. Lynn's always last. We're always walking into the train station after the train has left. I get what my fellow councilors want to do. And I 99.9% I stand with all my fellow councilors. My goal for the last 5.5 years is to try to keep us together and keep these arguments. And this is the first time we've had anything like this on the floor. And again, I respect everybody's opinion. I respect the ones that will vote for it. But I ask you to respect my opinion as well. I want to continue working, and I know there's a lot of work that's got to be done in this. But it's disingenuous for anybody to think that affordable housing is going to become effective tomorrow, because it's not, or next week or next year. I still feel as though we should work on a plan, but if this is the plan the council wishes to vote on, I'll stand with you, but I am going to vote no. Does anyone else have anything they want to say?
Call for the vote.
Motion's been made, seconded, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey? Absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Starbed?
Absolutely not.
Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
No. Motion carries. So also for the record, this was not public hearing. It was not set down as a public hearing. This was amongst the council who made a motion to accept a plan that was provided to us. It's that simple. For any other business?
Happy New Year to Jewish residents in the city.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Happy New Year to our Jewish residents in the city.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion made, seconded.
The house of the city. And for way too long, we've been told what we need to do as a city, as opposed to asking the people that it impacts the most what we should be doing. And that's why we get pushback. That's why we get division. That's why we don't get buy-in on the things that we need to do. We can't continue to do business as usual in the city anymore. These short-term crises, the mistrust, the mismanagement, all needs to stop. Someone had this slogan recently for me, and it was brilliant. But you can't have an old key open up a new door. We can't keep on doing the stuff that we've been doing. We need to get rid of it. We deserve better. I tell people every single day, the people in Lynn have to work 5 times harder than our neighboring cities. The police, the fire, we have old infrastructure for emergency services, old schools for our teachers and our students. Our businesses, there's not disposable income out there like in other cities, so they have to work 5 times harder for them to make payroll every single week. I know how that feels. And that's why I'm going to get out there every single month and meet in every single ward and be accessible like I am today. Look at my record on the school committee, and you'll see I say what I mean. Thank you.
Darren.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't hear, I heard the end of it, but I didn't hear the first
I can
part.
repeat it. Considering the past administration was rarely visible and accessible, what are your commitments to more transparency and making your administration available for public forums and access?
So, right off the bat, no one's more frustrated than I am with the communication that's gone on between the mayor's office and the council. For 4 years, we continuously reached out to the mayor and asked him to include us in his weekly meetings. He would not include the council. Part of that reason being, I believe, is because I don't agree with all of his politics. And if you're the mayor of the city of Lynn, regardless of whether we agree on something or we disagree on something, I represent everyone in the city. and they all deserve the right to be able to sit at the table, no matter what that issue may be. So one of the things one of my favorite words is compromise. And the reason I say that is because 20, 30, 40% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And I'm going to give you an example. We're receiving $18 million from the CARES Act. We're going to wind up in the end getting $180 million. Any money that comes into the city has to be accepted through the Ways and Means of the City Council. Then the mayor's allowed to spend that money if he brings it to the Ways and Means. So I made a stipulation that any money coming into the city any expenditures has to go through Ways and Means after we accept that money. He vetoed that bill because he has his own wish list. Now, every ward and every neighborhood has its own issues, and the reason why I wanted it to go through the council is because the council is aware of that. The city ward councilors are in contact every day with their constituents, holding neighborhood meetings, finding out what the issues may be. Thank you.
Okay.
No, Jared.
Oh, Jared, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Jumping the gun.
All right, well, thank you. So I think the first thing I'll talk about for transparency